Yo, what's good, YouTube? Zamcrow here, aka Scoot, back with the Draft League World Series, and we have yet another speed tour. We've been going through these like crazy since December, and they're just so much fun that we just keep practicing with new mons, testing things out, seeing how they're going. And this time we've got a new squad. Took a little bit different approach to it. I like it a lot though. We've got Garchomp, Mega Alakazam, Rotom Wash, Mandibuzz, Ferrothorn, Entei, Florges, and Sock. So pretty fun squad. Looks to be uh, one of my more favorite squads to use, and we can go ahead and hop into the replays and see what's going on here. All right, for game one, we're facing off against Carson 59. I think he's C Barber, and he's got a squad that he brought: Skarmory, Salazzle, Tangrowth, Latias, Megalopunny, and the Araquanid. So we have a Garchomp with Earthquake, Dragon Claw, Fire Fang, and Toxic. Fire Fang's there to hit Skarmory. Hits the Tangrowth, I guess, for a little bit of damage. Toxic is there for the Tangrowth, though. And then Earthquake and Dragon Claw is pretty much for the rest of the squad. Like, pretty self-explanatory. We have the Yachi Berry so that we can come in on Salazzle pretty comfortably. Flamethrower, Sludge Wave, things like that bounce off Garchomp, and then we have the Yachi Berry in case he's got the Hidden Power Ice. Dragon Claw will always break its sub, so if he's like a sub disable set, he disables Earthquake, Dragon Claw will cover that as well. And we have enough speed. We have 124 speed EVs, which allows us to outspeed some of his slower mons. Nothing significant, I suppose. And we're quite bulky chomp on this one. Next up, Mega Alakazam. We have a modest nature with just Psyshock and Shadow Ball. Basically all we needed, and he doesn't bring anything in this match that, contradicts that. It's the only thing we need. Shadow Ball will do enough to Skarmory. And then Protect is nice for Megalopunny's Fake Out. Scout for Quick Attack as well, and allows me, Protect does not, but I have Taunt as my fourth move, which allows me to taunt Skarmory and prevent it from roosting up, meaning Shadow Ball can 1v1 it. And then Shadow Ball hits the Lottie for the most damage too. So yeah, this thing's a nice sweeper in the in-game, and we'll see how that goes. Next up we have a Rotom Wash, which is a Volt Switch, Rest Talk variant with Defog, max defense, max HP. Basically here to kind of take a hit from Mega Lopunny, and always Volt Switch out into Mega Alakazam, because Volt Switch will break a sub, and then Mega Alakazam can come in and prevent him from doing any other kind of shenanigans, because Psyshock will force him out, hopefully. Next up, we have a Mandibuzz with Taunt, Brave Bird, Roost, and Whirlwind. Whirlwind being there for things like Calm Mind Lottie, or a sub Salazzle, or even like a Mega Lopunny with Cosmic Power or something, some kind of shenanigans. Taunt's nice for Araquanid, prevents webs. Defog on Rotom Wash also gets rid of webs, which is really nice. And then we have a Ferrothorn, which is, like, if you look at our squad so far, we don't have anything that can necessarily beat an Araquanid. I guess Mandibuzz is our closest option, but we need that for other things, Salazzle and the Lottie specifically. So we've got a curse set here with Ferrothorn, which is designed to always 1v1 an Araquanid with Power Whip and Gyro Ball, and then this is our designated Stealth Rocker as well, which is really nice. And last but not least, we have an Entei, which is going to be our one of our better breakers in this matchup. Whittles things for Mega Alakazam for the late game. We have Sacred Fire, Flare Blitz, Extreme Speed, and Toxic with a Choice Band. His only switch in is his Lottie, in which I can Toxic it, and then start to wear him down with the Choice Banded Sacred Fires, which is really nice. So let's go ahead and hop into the replay here. His only potential Stealth Rocker is Salazzle. Not Salazzle, Skarmory. So I'm going to lead off with my Mega Alakazam, and I can just taunt it and prevent it from doing anything scary. And I can actually prevent Araquanid's webs as well. So now I can just switch out into Ferrothorn. Like I mentioned, this is my designated check to that thing. But he does make a good play there and goes out to his Salazzle, which forces me into my Garchomp, and he's actually went for Toxic there, as I double out into my Entei, because if you went for Hidden Power Ice, then Entei covered that, and if he switched out to Skarmory, then Entei also covered that. So now I can throw off a Toxic here, predicting his Lottie to come in, but he actually stays in, and he would have let me whittled his Skarmory way, way, way down. So that was a ballsy play, but it worked out for him, so I can't say much about it, except for that I disagree with it. And now I'm going to go out into my Ferrothorn because he goes out into his Lottie here. I expected that, but I couldn't risk Toxic in and taking a round of damage for nothing. So here I'm going to go out into my Rotom as he brings in his Mega Lopunny as I got up my rocks. And he reveals Substitute. And I'm just going to Volt Switch out like I mentioned. If he was Cosmic Power here, I would obviously have to go out into my Mandibuzz and Whirlwind. But thanks to him going out, or going for Power Up Punch, I can just go into Mega Alakazam here and click Psyshock. It should do enough. And then he brings out his Lottie on the Psyshock. And I bring out my Mandibuzz as he goes into Araquanid there. So not too big of an issue. I'm able to taunt him as he goes for Liquidation, which does quite a bit. And I go out into my Ferrothorn, and he predicts that yet again and goes into Salazzle. So he's really trying to pressure me with Salazzle. But I do have a bulky Garchomp, which allows me to, and I click Earthquake there versus the Lottie, and predicting him to roost or something, I went for the Dragon Claw as he went back into his Salazzle thinking that I was a Choice Scarf variant. So he brings back in his Skarmory here. I get in Mandibuzz and I can roost up at this point. I already revealed Taunt already, so I didn't expect the Toxic, but he does go for the Toxic there as I roost up to full. So now things are a little bit problematic as Mandy was my way of dealing with a lot of his threats. And I Heart Switch out into Rotom here as he goes into his Mega Lopunny. I was hoping to catch his Skarmory there, but he does switch out anyway. And into his Tangrowth as I can just Volt Switch out into my Entei. And now I can throw off a Banded Sacred Fire and claim a life. Basically. Able to knock out the Tangrowth there, so that's one threat gone. And now he brings in his Lottie. It's kind of an issue. I'm going to go out into my Garchomp though and sack it off, but he switches out into his Araquanid here, so I'm actually going to click the Poison and get this thing whittled down a little bit. Don't want it to be a huge threat in the in-game. And I'm going to go for the Dragon Claw here because it does the most damage output and 100% hits Skarmory where Earthquake would not have. And now I can go out to my Rotom and I can just defog these webs away because I don't want those on the on the field because webs could make it to where Mega Lopunny beats my Mega Alakazam, and that's something I don't want either. I'm going to Volt Switch out here into Entei as he goes for the Tailwind with his Skarmory. So that's a nice play. It enables him to get his rocks up, but he just dies to the following turn anyway because of... I went for Flare Blitz because it would have knocked out the Lottie and the Araquanid as well. But yeah, he brings in the Lottie, he roosts up, and with Recoil and Toxic Damage, I should be knocked out there. And now he goes, or I go out into my Ferrothorn on his last turn of Tailwind, and I'm going to start cursing up. My opponent reveals Reflect type and Calm Mind though, so that's pretty scary. But at the same time, he can't beat me. His set is Reflect type, Roost, Calm Mind, and Psyshock. So he can't beat me. And yeah, he's going to Heart Switch out into Mega Lopunny here, finally realizing that his damage is going to bounce off. At this point, he can't even knock me out with Drain Punch from Mega Lopunny or High Jump Kick or any kind of attack like that. I go for the Gyro Ball here, and it looks like Ferrothorn is going to be able to wrap this game up. Pretty nice to come through with Ferrothorn with a Curse sweep. That's pretty sick. Shout out to Mr. Janvad. Enjoy your Cursed Ferrothorns in the Uber Lives. But yeah, that's going to be it for game one. As you can see, he's going to drop there, and we're going to be moving on to round two, and we'll be right back with that game. Alright, so here we are with game two, and I'm facing off against Brobat, who had a pretty scary squad, as you can see on screen. He's got the Mew, Zeraora, Hydreigon, Crobat, Basculin, and the Mamoswine. For this matchup, we've decided to bring Garchomp, Mega Alakazam, Rotom Wash, Mandibuzz, Entei, and Florges, where our Garchomp is another Yachi Berry variant with Stealth Rock, Swords Dance, Earthquake, and Dragon Claw. Just dual stab, basically all I needed for his entire squad. Mega Alakazam is a 3 attacks Encore set with Psychic, Shadow Ball, Dazzling Gleam, and Encore. Able to outpace the Zeraora, and I think Garchomp's able to outpace the Mew. Next up, we've got Rotom Wash, which is more of a defensive variant. Kind of checks Crobat and Mamoswine. I've got Volt Switch, Hydro Pump, and Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice is there for the Hydreigon, and I've got Thunder Wave there. It can catch the Mew off guard. It's my best way of crippling Mew. Toxic would synchronize with me. Will-O-Wisp would also synchronize with me, but it would be a lot less significant to both of us. But Thunder Wave cannot synchronize to me because I'm an electric type, so that would be nice. Next up, we've got Mandibuzz, which is a leftovers variant, kind of mixed defense with U-turn. Obviously, he could switch in things like Hydreigon and Zeraora, so being able to U-turn on those and catch momentum into things like my Garchomp or something is really nice. I've got Knockoff to get rid of items, and Roost and Protect for longevity. So the idea is to use Rotom Wash and Mandibuzz, and even Florges as a defensive backbone. Next up is the most heat we've brought in this tour, I believe. We're rocking a Fire EMZ Sunny Day Entei with Sacred Fire, Return, and Flare Blitz. Adamant Nature. We're rocking Return on here because he could be like a defensive, first of all, Basculin, second of all, Hydreigon. So Return hits both of those for neutral damage, and I thought was probably my best moveset. And I think Z Sunny Day could catch my opponent off guard, which is really cool. I think that's a cool tech. Next up, we have a Calm Mind Florges, which could be an easy win condition once Crobat goes down if his Mew does not have Taunt. However, if I'm able to paralyze Mew, then Taunt probably doesn't matter, as I can get a Calm Mind up before it can taunt me. Anyways, I've got Wish and Protect on there, and I'm Mono Moonblast. Despite him having a Crobat, I did not mind to run Mono Moonblast because I felt the rest of my squad could deal with Crobat pretty comfortably. That being said, looking at team matchup here, the squad that he brought, he's got 2 potential Stealth Rockers in Mew and Mamoswine. Mamoswine's actually a fine lead for him as well. So I didn't want to lead with my Garchomp, and instead decided to lead with my Rotom Wash, in which he leads with his Mew, so I can immediately Thunder Wave this thing. Unfortunately, he's able to get his rocks up, which means Entei is going to take quite a bit of damage throughout the match, but I can work around that. So he goes hard into his Zeraora here, predicting my Volt Switch, and I do go for just that. He goes for his own Volt Switch as I hard switch into my Garchomp, so both of us showing off some immunities there. He goes out into his Mew as I get my rocks up, and he reveals Ice Beam as I go into my Florges. It bounces off, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to Wish up, and he doesn't hard switch into his Crobat. That being said, I'm going to start firing off some Calm Minds here. No reason not to. Right? Wrong. My opponent gets a freeze here, which is insane, and I'm able to try to thaw out here a few turns, but he's going to reveal here his Z move, and he reveals the Acid Downpour, which looks to be a Gunk Shot because he gets a critical hit and knocks me out, which is super unfortunate. So I'm going to go into my Garchomp here, and I'm going to click Swords Dance because I know I can eat 1 Ice Beam because of my Yachi Berry, and I might be able to break this Mew down or put it in range to where Entei can break him down. But he gets a freeze, and I don't thaw out, which is insane because now I'm basically playing a 6v4. Question is, can I still win? So here I'm going to make some aggressive plays. I'm going to go for Shadow Ball, and I'm going to stay in here. I don't even care if he's Scarf. I'm just going to stay in and click Dazzling Gleam. Knocks him out. He goes into his Mamoswine here. I'm going to hard switch out into my Rotom Wash. It's my only play, so nothing, really else to do there. And I can just click Hydro Pump or Volt Switch here. He goes out into his Mew as I click Hydro Pump, and it does quite a bit of damage. So I know my Mega Alakazam can probably sweep in the late game. So the idea here is to just get my Alakazam in a position to where I can do that. So I'm going to hard switch out into Mega Alakazam, predicting his Roost. He goes for Soft Boil, pretty much the same thing, and I Encore him into that. I'm able to 2-hit KO him here, thanks to the Para. And yeah, he's going to try to revenge kill me with Mamoswine. I'm not going to allow that to happen. I didn't care about that Para either because my opponent froze me like 10 times. So I don't care about that pair. I don't care if it mattered at all. He goes out into Zera Aura here on my Volt Switch. I got to keep Rotom Wash around because it's my Mammal Swine check. And he goes for his own discharge here as I switch out into Mega Alakazam, revealing Trace, and I catch his Volt Absorb, which is actually pretty super cool in my opinion. And I'm going to click Psychic here. It gets rid of the Crobat. Would have knocked out the Zera Aura as well. 2-hit KOs, Mamoswine and Basculin upon switching. Didn't want to risk it just yet though. I think Mamoswine's Scarf, so I definitely got to keep my Rotom Wash around. I go for the Hydro Pump here and I miss as he goes for the goes into the Basculin, and he goes for the Head Smash. I'm not sure what his set was there, but had he got rid of my Rotom Wash, and then his Mamoswine would have been in a solid position. However, it didn't have a move to lock himself into. Entei resists Ice Bit or Icicle Crash, and Mandibuzz is immune to the Earthquake. So he didn't have a move to lock himself into, and I didn't care that he missed that Head Smash after he did that freezing shit to me. And yeah, I didn't think he even deserved to be in the match after that. You know, I know it's not his fault, but he could have offered a restart or something there. Anyways, I go out into my Mandibuzz here as he goes for the knockoff. I didn't expect him to go for Earthquake or Icicle Crash again because Rotom Wash has been not switching the entire time. And here I'm going to go for the Z Sunny Day as he goes for Discharge and gets a para. I guess that was kind of expected. I'm not having the best game so far. Like I'm making my best plays. I'm just getting extremely lucked against. So here are my plays to stay in versus the Mamoswine. He reveals Icicle Crash to be his move of choice. It will knock out my Mega Alakazam. It will knock out my Mandibuzz. So I just have to pray that I don't get flinched here and I land this Hydro Pump, and we're going to be able to win this match with a narrow. I mean, it seems super narrow. I felt in control of the whole match outside of the RNG, but we only come out with a 3-0 victory, which is fine. A win is a win, and we can move on to round 3, which is actually going to be the finals because this was an 8-man tournament. So we'll be right back with the finals. Alright, so here we're with the finals, and we're taking on Makahuri, and he's got a pretty scary squad, as you can see on screen. He brings the Zygarde 50%, Tornadus Therian, Weavile, Heatran, Reuniclus, and the, Scizor? I think it's Mega Scizor. And we've got Garchomp, Mega Alakazam, Rotom Wash, Mandibuzz, Entei, and the Florges, where our Garchomp is going to be a Yachi Berry variant with Dragon Claw, Earthquake, Flamethrower, and Stealth Rock. Dragon Claw and Earthquake hit his entire team, outside of Scizor, which Flamethrower bops, and then Stealth Rock is there. Obviously, chips things down. It's very nice against Weavile and Tornadus, and can put things like Zygarde and Heatran in range of some of the other mons that I have and some of the sets I've brought. So we've got enough speed, I think, to outpace a Zygarde. I don't think we needed any more than that. We're basically max HP on Chomp, and then a little bit of attack investment, enough to be able to OHKO a Heatran after or with Earthquake, unless it's a Shuka Berry variant or an Air Balloon variant, obviously, or if it's Scarf and has Hidden Power Ice. We do have the Yachi Berry though, so that we can always set up our Stealth Rocks versus a Weavile lead or a Heatran lead, and then bop it with the Earthquake on the following turn, which is really nice. Second up, we got Mega Alakazam, which is a Psychic, Shadow Ball, Hidden Power Fire variant with Protect. Protect is there to scout for Pursuit on Weavile, and if he goes for Pursuit, I'm going to be more inclined to click Hidden Power Fire, knowing that, okay, if I stay in versus him going for Pursuit, it's not a 2-hit KO, and if I switch out versus him going for Pursuit, I think it's a roll in his favor to knock me out. But I am a modest-natured Mega Alakazam with no speed investment. It allows me to outpace a Tornadus Therian and a Weavile that speed creeps a Garchomp, which is really nice. And then we have almost max HP with a lot of defense investment. Basically, this Mega Alakazam can live a hit from Scizor. It doesn't. If Mega Scizor is max attack adamant and goes for Bullet Punch, I will survive it. And if he's a bulkier Scizor, Bullet Punch can't 2-hit KO me. And this actually, coincidentally, this The EV set that I have on my Mega Alakazam allows me to take a non-invested Tornadus Therian's U-turn into a Scarf Pursuit from Weavile if I stay in. Obviously, if I switch out, Pursuit will be doing double the damage and will knock me out. But if I stay in and click Protect, scout that he's going for Pursuit, and he does reveal Pursuit, I can stay in that turn after taking a U-turn from a Tornadus, and then click Hidden Power Fire versus the Weavile, because I will survive, unless he gets a crit, obviously. Or that I'm already weakened. Say I've taken prior damage on my Mega Alakazam. Max roll U-turn from a non-invested Tornadus into a max roll Pursuit as I stay in versus a Weavile gives me, I think the highest percent I can live on 6%, and the lowest percent I can survive on is 1%, so that's really nice. Next up, we've got Rotom Wash, which is a Will-O-Wisp, Hydro Pump, Hidden Power Ice, Toxic variant. Pretty much a Spadef variant to take on Tornadus Therian. It switches in basically infinitely, and with Toxic I can whittle things down like Zygarde, Tornadus Therian, Weavile, and the Reuniclus in this matchup, unless it is obviously Magic Guard. Pretty cool set. They're got the Hidden Power Ice so that Zygarde can't take advantage of me with like Sub or anything like that. Double status is nice with Will-O-Wisp and Toxic. Next up we have Mandibuzz, which is a Taunt, Roost, Whirlwind variant with Foul Play. Allows us to bop things like Zygarde, Weavile, and the Mega Scizor with Foul Play, if they're invested, obviously. And then we've got Taunt to prevent things like, I can prevent Heatran from getting up rocks. I can prevent Zygarde from going for multiple Dragon Dances or multiple setup options. It could potentially get a Coil or a Dragon Dance up on the first turn though, but I will taunt that so that it can't continuously set up. Roost is there for longevity. I can take hits from Tornadus Therian, Heatran, Reuniclus, Mega Scizor, and Zygarde as long as it's not set up pretty comfortably. And I can take an Icicle Crash from Weavile with my HP investment. With my Spadef investment, I can roost off pretty much anything Reuniclus wants to go for. And I've got Whirlwind there. Allows me to have a safety net versus things like SD Scizor or Calm Mind Reuniclus, or Acid Armor Reuniclus even. So yeah, that's really nice. Next up we've got a defensive Entei with Leftovers, Flamethrower, Hidden Power Ice, and Bulldoze. It gives me coverage versus his entire team. He doesn't have a fire resist outside of Zygarde 50% and the Heatran, which don't appreciate Hidden Power, 4 times effective Hidden Power Ice and 4 times effective Bulldoze. And then we've got the Roar there so that we can, if Scizor tries to set up on us, thinking we were locked into something like Bulldoze or Hidden Power Ice, we can obviously roar that out. Obviously Flamethrower is the better play, but Roar is mainly there for things like a Zygarde that wants to come in and potentially try to set up on me. If switching out is a choke and Hidden Power Ice isn't going to net the knockout, then I can just click Roar, prevent Zygarde from setting up. Or at least try to anyway. And then same thing for Reuniclus. If it's like an Acid Armor or a Calm Mind variant, then being able to roar that out is really nice. Last but not least, we have a max defense, max HP Florges. Can take on Weavile and Zygarde pretty comfortably with Wish Protect, Moonblast, and Hidden Power Ground. I thought about running Hidden Power Fire on here for the Scizor, but I felt like I dealt with Scizor pretty well in this matchup, and Heatran would be the bigger nuisance. So I decided Hidden Power Ground would be ultimately better. So Wish Protect, Moonblast, and Hidden Power Ground for the Heatran. It's really nice. Anyways, that's it for the team, and we can go ahead and hop into the replay. So looking at the team he opted to bring, he's only got one potential Stealth Rocker, being Heatran, meaning leading off with Garchomp's a pretty fine play. I live any one hit from anything, so unless it's like Z Outrage or some kind of dragon move on Zygarde. But yeah, I'm just going to lead off with my Garchomp and potentially get my rocks up depending on what he leads with. He leads with the Heatran here, and actually I want to go ahead and just click Earthquake here and see how much damage I can do. He doesn't have a solid switch in unless he wants to go hard into Torn, in which I could just go into Rotom and then Volt Switch out. So I go for the Earthquake here. He does reveal a Sugar Berry and Hidden Power Ice, and goes for the Hidden Power Ice on the following turn. I thought he might go out into Torn there on the Earthquake, but I suppose that was a fine play too. But I did get my Stealth Rocks up. I did weaken the Heatran, and now I can go into my Entei and just click Bulldoze here. I'm able to knock out the Heatran, and now he goes into Reuniclus. And I could roar here which wouldn't be a bad play, but I don't want him to necessarily know I have it. So I'm just going to hard switch out the Mana Buzz here as he goes for the Psychic. And I'm immune to that. Not too big of an issue here. I'm going to be able to taunt as he actually goes into his Sizzle here. And I'm going to click Foul Play, knowing that he can't Roost or Swords Dance or anything like that. Can't defog. So getting that taunt off is really nice, and then being able to get a nice huge chunk with Foul Play is really nice versus the Sizzler. Now I can potentially knock it out with Mega Alakazam upon switch in, which would be really nice. Depends on the set though. Anyways, I am able to, he's able to U-turn out and get his Tornadus Therian in, but I'm easily able to go out into my Rotom Wash here and tank any hit. He U-turns out into Reuniclus, which isn't a bad play, but I can Toxic this thing and see what kind of set he is. And he is actually a Regenerator set, so looks to be a little bit annoying. I am going to hard switch out into Florges here on the Thunder, but he actually reveals that he has Energy Ball too. So that bounces off. This is probably an Assault Vest variant to check my Mega Alakazam, which is not a bad set at all. Anyways, I'll throw off a Wish here with Florges, and I can go back out into my Rotom Wash as he goes into his Torn. He goes for U-turn yet again, but I am going to catch my Wish here. And now with Rocks up and these Mons poisoned, I should be in a decent position. He goes for the Thunder upon my switch in here, which that would have did around 50 to 60%, but I could easily Roost up, I mean, and then negate the damage on the following turn. It would do half the damage. So I would have been able to easily, get that damage roosted off and run him out of Thunders as well. But here, he's going to U-turn out again. Oh, he finally clicks Hurricane, and then U-turns out as I bring in my Rotom. I click Hydro Pump there, trying to get some nice damage off, but yeah, it's not going to work. I don't have Volt Switch. Volt Switch would have been really nice in this matchup. I think that would have been better now that I'm looking at it. But yeah, here we are. Anyways, Wish, throw this off the Rotom once again as he goes for the U-turn once again. Not a bad play at all. Unfortunately, with his Regenerator Core, he might be able to do quite a bit of work actually. Not really do work, but PP stall a lot. So here I'm going to hard switch into my Alakazam as he goes for Thunder and misses, which that wouldn't have really mattered as he does go out to his Tornadus. And I was going to get Regenerator versus Reuniclus, or I was going to get Regenerator versus Tornadus anyway if he stayed in. And it looks like Tornadus is his switch in of choice. So what I can actually do here is I click Shadow Ball, and it bounces off. But I do have Regenerator now. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click Protect as he goes for the U-turn. And now I'm going to hard switch out. I don't want to take the U-turn yet. And I want to get him maybe just a little bit more chip damage on the Tornadus. Maybe below 50% before I start firing off Psychics. But as soon as I get Alakazam in and I can start firing off attacks with no worries, I should be in a pretty solid position. This Reuniclus doesn't look to be too offensive based on its Assault Vest. I do think it's Assault Vest. I'm convinced of that. However, he does eventually switch into his Zygarde here, I think on a Flamethrower. And I believe I'm going to click Hidden Power. I click Roar here, not wanting it to set up. So he's able to knock out my Entei here. I'm able to go out into my Florges, and he goes into his Scizor. And I get a critical hit, and this almost knocks him out, but it doesn't, luckily, because that would have been really unfortunate if it did. And I don't really like to win by a crit or anything, but I know he's going to be able to be faster than me, and he's going to Roost up here. So what I'm going to do is hard switch out into my Mana Buzz, and then taunt him on the following turn, or I could Foul Play him. And I am going to click Foul Play, predicting him to predict my taunt and just U-turn out, or hard switch out. But he actually stays in and defogs, and I don't get that play at all, because had I taunted him, he wouldn't have got damage off, and he wouldn't have got the defog off, and I would have gotten this Foul Play off versus him or one of his other Mons, which at this point none of his Mons appreciate a Foul Play. As you see, it's doing 35% to Tornadus, and had I taunted him there, Rocks plus Foul Play would be doing a lot of damage. Right now. I could have potentially 2-hit KO'd Tornadus right there. He would have been forced to U-turn out, and something else would come in and take a Foul Play. So yeah, I really disagree with his defog play, but it worked out for him anyway. But yeah, this Regenerator Core is starting to get a little bit annoying. I'm going to hard switch out to my Florges here. I'm going to throw off a Wish. I think I can just go back out into my Rotom or my Mana Buzz here. There's really, again, not an issue to stay in here and just fire off a Moonblast. as I do get the special attack drop on the Reuniclus, that's kind of okay. Not too big of an issue. I'm going to hard switch out into Alakazam here with my Regenerator. And he brings in Tornadus once again. So yeah, just this never-ending U-turns and stuff like that. It's kind of getting annoying, but there is still a way for us to win, so no reason to get too worried yet. I do believe I'm going to stay in here and tank this Hurricane, see how much I take, and it doesn't even do close to half. Like, it doesn't even do like 40% or so. And he's forced to U-turn. Had I been Rocky Helmet, that would have been really nice. But I am going to roost up here as he U-turns out into his Weavile. And I'm going to show you the bulk of Florges here, as it reveals to be not an item boosting Weavile, which makes me think that it's potentially a Scarf variant, as it would be able to outpace a Scarf Garchomp. It would be able to outpace a Mega Alakazam, which is really nice. Yeah, it was this Regenerator, despite having Toxic without on the Reuniclus there, despite having the Toxic on the Reuniclus, and I think getting this Toxic on the Tornadus on this turn. Yeah, we do. Got him right there. We don't have Rocks up because my opponent made a bad play and it worked out for him. So, yeah, we don't have Rocks up because of that, and he's able to take advantage of that, being able to just switch almost endlessly here. What we are going to do here, as you can see, we get our Alakazam in, and we're going to start firing off some big attacks here. He goes out into Torn. Shadow Ball did 30-some% earlier, so I know Psychic will do roughly half. I get a critical hit there and it does 65%, so I know this Tornadus is more than likely Assault Vest as well, which is really nice. But he gets a critical hit there, and yeah, it does a fuck ton of damage, unfortunately. Puts me in range of Pursuit, whether I stay in or not, which is so he gets a critical hit here and puts me in range of a Weavile, whether I stay in or switch. He does reveal Pursuit, and I'm like, okay, maybe he's not Scarf, and I click Hidden Power Fire, but he does reveal to be Scarf. So that's actually going to be game there. I'm not going to drag this out too much. I can't win without Mega Alakazam. I can't Revenge Kill Tornadus. I can't Revenge Kill Zygarde. I don't have a way to super effectively hit Tornadus at this point, and basically his Regenerated Core is going to be too much at this point. I did land the Toxics that I needed. I did have my Rocks up like I needed. My opponent made a bad play and got a little bit of luck on his side, but you can't fault him for a critical hit. He didn't say, hey, I want a critical hit on this turn, but he got it nonetheless. Anyways, what's going to happen is I'm going to be able to get this Zygarde out of the field. He's going to go for Stone Edge here, and I'm going to think that I'm convinced that when he revealed Stone Edge there, I was convinced that he was like a Choice Band variant. So I went for Wish, and he actually reveals to be quite invested. And what I can do here is I could sack off Rotom, which wouldn't be a bad play. I think that's actually the play here. But what I did was stay in, and I didn't scout for the Z move. Had I went into Rotom there on the Z move, Rotom would have actually been immune to that, and he would have knocked me out on the following turn with 1,000 Arrows, but he wouldn't have a Z move to knock out my Florges, and I could go out into Florges on the following turn. But I think it wouldn't really matter, because if Scizor was able to come in versus my Florges, and it had Swords Dance, it would have won anyway. Or if it just eliminated my Florges, or forced me out at such low HP that Weavile could win in the end anyway. So I don't think I could have played around the end game there. I think after the critical hit on Mega Alakazam, that was a game. But yeah, that's going to be it. Let me know what you guys thought about the tour. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.